Hello, everybody. So, you're welcome to today's lecture, and we're just going to be talking very briefly about how to make a task repeatable on bubble.io and stop it from working on a specific day. So, there are a couple of use cases for why you might want to do this. So, why would you want to do this? So, for example, let's say you have a project management application and you want to create a task that is repeated every day, every week, every month, and you want the task to end on a specific date. How are you going to do that? So I'm going to be showing you how to do this using recurring workflows and API, your backend API. And then also another use case might be you're sending repeatable newsletters, so that you're sending newsletters every single week, right? But you want it to stop on a specific day. How are you going to do that? Last thing I would say is periodical reports. So that's, let's say, your sending reports and you're canceling those reports on a specific day, or you're canceling those reports with the click of a button. So we'll be looking at these two instances where first of all we're going to create the workflow. I'm going to show you how to create the workflow, and then secondly I'm going to show you how to stop the workflow on a specific day, and thirdly I'm going to show you how to stop the workflow maybe when somebody clicks a button or a text or something. All right, so let's get into the back end of my bubble app. All right, so the back end, and what I would just want to do today is basically do a very simple um, equation that when somebody clicks a button, um, when somebody clicks a specific button, that the workflow is going to say that it's going to be adding 20 points to that person's count. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to go into my data, and I'm just going to go to the user's data, and I'm just going to create something called account. So let's just say maybe this is like a gamifying application where users have like a score, like a leaderboard score. It's like a leaderboard count, leaderboard, excuse me, board count, and every week or every day it adds a certain number to that count. That's that. So that's 0. Okay, so now what I want to do is that when they click a specific button on this, when a user clicks a button on this page, that is going to be is going to set up a workflow that is going to be adding 20 points to that user every single week. So let me just configure that. All right. So I'm just going to go into the layout. So first of all, let me just say um, add 20 points daily. Daily. Okay, so what I'm just gonna do here is that I'm just gonna create a bit of design because I really, I'm gonna need all of this. So I'm just gonna call this group leaderboard. You don't need to, do what I'm doing. Just watch. Get the flow of what I'm trying to do. I'm just gonna call this a row. I'm building this on the new responsive engine. So I'm just gonna remove fixed width and make this. And then for the height, I'm just going to put a minimum height of 300 for now. And here I can copy this, just copy and paste this here. And I can put this at the center. All right. So here it's going to add 20 points weekly. I'm just going to say add 20 points. Sorry, add 20 points weekly. I'm going to say add 50 points daily. Weekly, and then add 120 points monthly. Okay, monthly. And what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to space this out a bit. I'm just going to apply the gap spacing for each column. It's 20 points, so it's a bit spaced out. And I'm not what I'm going to do. I'm just going to get an input. Just going to paste it here, and just it's okay. I don't really want to style it much. I'm just gonna make this 50. I'm gonna put it in the center, and I'm gonna call this input. Sorry, this is not what I need. What I want to put is a date and time picker. What I need is a date and time picker. So this is just more or less when this would end. And I'm just gonna call this end date. And I'm just gonna put this at the middle. I'm gonna put this at 200. And I'm gonna put this at 50. Okay. All right. So that's okay. And next I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do a bit of styling again. Just bear with me. Just gonna make this 0. I'm gonna put some margins at the top, 20, so not 200, 20. Margins at the bottom, 20, left 20, right 20. Yeah, just and then what else I can do is I can just put some. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So basically, what am I trying to do? That when somebody clicks this button, add 20 points, it's gonna automatically add 20 points to the current user. If it clicks add 50 points, it's gonna add 50 points. If it clicks add 120 points, it's gonna add 120 points. And if it clicks and if this is set and you add the 20 points, it's gonna stop it on this specific day. Last thing I'm gonna add is I'm just gonna add an icon. And you can just put the icon here. And I'm just gonna look for stop. Just remove the style a bit. Make this make it a little bit red. Then just put it in the middle. So I'm just gonna copy and paste this on that. Sorry. So I'm just gonna copy it another time. And this time I'm gonna remove this, remove this, I'm gonna remove this, I'm gonna remove this, and I'm gonna remove this, and I'm gonna remove this. Alright, it's perfect. So let me just rename this and date daily and date day and weekly and it monthly. Alright. Can also rename all of this as well. Day, week, month. Alright, so let's go into the back end now. Just click on this. So we can before we can go ahead to create this specific recurring workflow on the front end, we first need to go to the back end. So you have to go to the back end workflows and you need to create the recurring workflow first. So I'm just going to I'm going to say a new recurring event. I'm going to call this recurring daily leaderboard, right? And if you're writing a space, you always need to put a hyphen because spaces are not allowed in when you're dealing with the API workflows. Next thing is going to ask this type of thing. So what exactly are you running this workflow on? So remember, I'm trying to add points to my user. So it's a user workflow. So let's say if you're running a project management app, it might be a task workflow, it might be a to-do, it might be a project, Depending on what kind of app you're running. But the kind of app I'm running is a user application. It's depending on what you want to change. That's what I mean. So right now, what I want to change is a user's count. So that's why the type of thing is user. All right. So it has an only when condition, right? So this workflow runs only when certain things happen. So I'm just going to leave that blank. Workflow folder is unnecessary for now. Next, I'm going to click here to add an action, right? So what I want to, the action that I want to take is I want to make changes to a user, make changes to the current user, right? So the change I want to make is on the leaderboard count. And I'm going to say the current workflows user leaderboard count plus 20. So no matter what their count is, it's going to add 20 points to it. I hope that's clear. Then I'm going to just copy and paste this. And I'm going to change this to weekly. I'm going to take this out, make changes to current user. I'm just going to call this 50. Does that make sense? And then of course do it one more time. Let's copy and paste again. Seems not to be copying and pasting. So this is monthly. Let's take out this copy thing here. Make changes to current user. So this time I'm going to put 120. Brilliant. So that's all. Oh, all right. It's a lot of work. Next, you just simply go back to the um, you go back to the page. So now when you click that button, the daily button at 20 points, what you're going to do is search for where you see um, just search for recurring, set cancel, recurring event, and then you just select the recurring event, right? That's recurring daily leaderboard, workflow thing is current user. So in an instance where you're working on a particular data type, you would have to set the group of the button to that data structure and things like that. Now frequency, how frequently do you want this recurring events to be working? So I'm just going to set daily. Then it says start date time. So I'm just going to say current date time. So it's going to start, this workflow is going to start today. So I can see that I want this workflow to start 7 days from now. I want this workflow to start 2 days from now. But I want this workflow to start now so that by the next 7 days, you're going to see it's going. Right. So you can do the same thing um for the 50 points, and you can do the same thing for the ones for to do. So I'm just going to do for 50 points, and I'm going to leave it to do for the remaining. So for 50 points, simply the same thing, just say set cancel a recurring event, and you select the recurring event, which is this time is going to be weekly leaderboard. Workflow thing is current user, frequency is weekly, start date is current date time. All right. Okay, so that's for setting the recurring weekly leaderboard. Now, to stop it from running, It's very simple. So I'm just going to click on this icon. So this icon is to stop. So I'm going to say when this icon stop circle daily is clicked, I want you to just click for set, cancel the recurring events. You look for the recurring events, recurring daily leaderboard, workflow thing, same thing, current user, frequency. Now here in the frequency, you just say none. So none is going to cancel that. So that's all. That's all you have to do. Now, what if we want to stop it on a specific day, like this day, right? So it's not like anything has happened. What if we want to stop it on a specific day? Well, we need to initiate that this thing is going to stop on a specific day, and when we initiate that is when we click this button. So when you set this and you click this button, it's going to initiate an API call for this particular workflow to stop on this date. So first, in order for us to do that, we need to go to the back end. Let's go to the backend, and I'm going to create another workflow. But this time it's going to be a new API workflow. And it's going to be called cancel day leaderboard. Right, and this is going to be add a new parameter, and the parameter is going to be a user, and the type is going to be a user, and that's all. And what I want you to do is I want you to cancel this recurring leaderboard. So the workflow thing now is the user that was passed on from when we set it up here, this user. So that's the user that is going to be passed on from the front end back to the back end. And the frequency, of course, we just set it to none. That's all. So now let's go back to the front end. Let's go back to my test page. And I'm going to say when this button is clicked, I also want you to initiate an API call. So I want you to schedule this API workflow. An API workflow I want you to schedule is called cancel day leaderboard. And the scheduled date for when this workflow is going to run is for the date picker end date, its value. So that means this API call is going to run on this specific date that is selected, right? And it is the user that is going to be passed on to the backend is the current user, and that's all. And I can say that I want this workflow to run only when the date picker date times value is not empty. So as long as somebody selects, put something in that date time picker, then I want you to run this particular workflow. Unless don't run it. There's no point to run it if it's empty. So you can go ahead to create an API workflow for add 50 or and add 100 buttons. So let's test this out. Let's see how this actually looks like. So I'm going to log in and I'm going to test this out. All right. So we said that when somebody clicks this button, it's going to add 20 points to the person's leaderboard count. So I've clicked the button now. And you can see it has leaderboard of 20 points right there. Right. So if I put in an end date. Okay, so first of all, let's see if this API workflow worked. So let's go into the logs. Let's go into the scheduler. Let me just show this. All right, you can see that it's scheduled on this specific day, specific time. Schedule this recurring daily leaderboard. So now I'm going to put a date, which is 15th, right? And I'm going to say add 20 points. All right, so that has gone. So I'm just going to show again. Okay. And okay, I think there might be something wrong with the way we configured it, which is the reason why we have to always be checking things. And I'm going to leave this in the tutorial so that you will know that sometimes when we set up things, it doesn't just always work the way we want it to work. So this works fine. We just tested it. And this value. Okay, I think this works fine. And okay, I think let me just put a minimum date. Is datetime pickers end date value. Sorry, current date time. I mean, current date time. All right, let's try this again. Let's try this again. 31st. Add 20 points. Okay, so let's go into our data and let's check complete Damola. Wow, okay, so now we see that it has 40 points, so that works. And if I show this, you can see that we first of all have the daily recurring leaderboard, and we have it that it's going to cancel on a specific day. The reason why it didn't work the previous time was because I had selected it to cancel a day before today's date, so it had already predated, so it just canceled immediately, right? So now I'm just going to click this button, which should cancel the recurring workflows. So let me click this, and if I go and I show, see, it takes it out, so it shows it's been cancelled. Although this wasn't cancelled, this will still run by itself, but it's not going to do anything. All right, so I'm just going to cancel this myself. So I hope that explains how basically to work with repeating tasks, and how to use recurring workflows, and how to stop recurring workflows either using a button or an icon or text, or using a datetime picker to stop it on a specific day. If you have any questions, you can always send me a message on my on YouTube, or you can connect with me on Calendly and book for a session to discuss a project that you'd like me to work on. Thank you and have a good day. Bye bye.